was amazing! I think I just blew my microphone, so I might sound a little grimy now because it's probably my camera's audio now. So my voice is like so bad right now. Like I was driving around earlier and I was trying to sing a song and my voice cracked really bad. So yeah, it's pretty gone. It's actually Friday the 13th of May. I don't know why I looked at my wrist to look for the date. Just roll with me here. It's the day after the show, which is why my voice is gone and everything is still fresh in my mind. That's why I recorded this when I did. The whole thing had me so worked up and excited and anxious and happy. Maybe I should start from the beginning. To start off, like, the whole day, the day before I worked until 9:30 p.m., right? Well, then I couldn't get to sleep until midnight. The excitement apparently was too much for me to be able to sleep. Adding to that, the excitement was apparently too much for me to let myself sleep more. So from midnight to 5 was all the sleep I got. I was up and wide awake at 5 o'clock. By the way, if you guys see this lump in my bed, my cat thought it was a game when I was making my bed, so that's what that is. I thought I'd clarify that real quick. Anyway, time went so slow. I can't even remember the last time that time went that slow. I mean, there was so much excitement, but also I was getting really overwhelmed because I had no idea where I was going to be parking during this. And then my mom called me at about noon, and she told me to empty my bag and be smart about it and blah, 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 all that mom stuff. Well, if my anxiety wasn't bad enough as it is then, boy was it worked up now. Because I've never really gone anywhere on my own, ever. Usually, like, I mean, for one, social events, like, I never want to go to those alone. I don't know why, like, I'm really socially awkward and I have a lot of social anxiety, that might be it, but I wanted to kind of take this step to break out of that shell. But anyway, I've never really been anywhere alone, so I was getting really, really anxious about this, and my hands started shaking so bad. So then the time was arriving that I was planning on leaving to make it to TATinoF. Well, my excitement, I couldn't just sit around and wait for the slow time to pass by anymore, so I left like 15 minutes early. Which actually wasn't bad because I got in my car and I realized that my car was nearly bone dry. It didn't have any gas. So I had to stop for gas, and then I also had to stop and pick up cash. So yeah, I was actually in luck that I left really early. So remember how I said I was really worked up about parking? Yeah, I had to circle this block like 10 times before I was able to find out where I was supposed to park. Because the first place that I was planning on parking, apparently you needed a permit, which I didn't have. Then the other place where I was supposed to park, that was like public parking, was closed. I had no idea where I was gonna go, and my anxiety was already racing like crazy, and I was so worked up. I was in tears. I'm trying to get a hold of somebody. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know where I'm supposed to park. And I mean, I'm like in tears, and I'm like, this is supposed to be my night. This is supposed to be a good night. I was so worked up, and I just wanted to go home, but then I didn't because I was like Dan and Phil. So I went into the place where I was originally going to park after, you know, like 10 minutes, not even 10 minutes, it was probably way more than 10 minutes of driving around trying to find where I was parking. So I went back to the place where I was originally going to park, and there were these two people standing there. And I just rolled down my window. I'm like, do you guys know if this is public parking or is it only for permits? And they ended up saying that they're parking there because the place across the street, the public parking, was closed and said to park there across the street. So I was like, okay, I literally said this. I said, okay, I'm gonna park next to you so that way if we get fined, we're getting fined together. So then after that, we were walking across the street, which, I mean, it wasn't far. We were walking across the street to the E.J. Thomas Hall where TATinoF was being held. And I saw in the one girl's arms, she was carrying TATinoF. And I'm like, you guys are here for TATinoF too? I didn't even know. Like, I didn't even put two and two together that these people could have been there for TATinoF and not for, I don't even know what else they would have been there for. I mean, obviously, like, that's probably not the only event that was going on in Akron, Ohio that night, so I mean, it makes sense in my mind. Don't judge me. So then we waited in a not so very long line. I mean, it wasn't bad at all. I got there at a really decent time that the line wasn't very long, and we waited for about 20 minutes, and they opened up the doors, and they said only VIP access only, and I was not VIP. I was disappointed about it before, but now, I mean, after TATinoF, I'm totally fine about it, honestly. So I stepped aside to let all the VIP people in, and this other girl was standing right beside me at the doors too, and she said non-VIP. I'm like, yeah, wait, you look familiar. And she responded with, oh, you do too. What? She was from Pennsylvania! What? How do two people from two different states think each other look completely familiar, but don't even know each other at all? That is the weirdest coincidence that's ever happened to me in my entire life. Cosmo decided under the bed sheets was too hot. I don't know if you heard him meow, but that's what he did. Anyway, so we were standing there talking for a little bit, and then all of a sudden there was an uproar of screams. Right off the bat, I knew what was going on. So I rushed down these stairs that were leading up to the E.J. Thomas Hall. I rushed down these stairs and went around the corner where everybody was looking, and Dan and Phil were entering this like side door into the E.J. Thomas Hall, which I could have sniped a picture, but I didn't. I wish I did, but I didn't, sadly. Side note, I was in really slippery boots. I have these like boots that like come up to here on my legs, and I don't know if you saw that, you probably didn't, up to here. I don't know if you saw it before, but there you go. They come up to like below my knee, and they're like mainly like fashionable boots, and so they have like no traction on them. So even though the steps were cement, I was nearly slipping down them. Like the first step I took, I felt my foot almost slide out from under me. So I was terrified I was gonna like fall on my face right in front of Dan and Phil. That would have been a sight for them to see. Probably would have made them laugh. Oh man, why am I laughing about myself getting hurt? So whilst we were waiting for the doors to open for any non-VIP people, because they let the VIP people in and then they weren't opening the doors until like 6:30, I think it was, that they were letting everyone else in to, you know, get to the merch stores and things like that. I'm getting ahead of myself. I was sitting there talking to the three people. There was two of them that just came over and started talking to me, and then there was another girl, the girl who was from Pennsylvania that looked familiar to me. I don't know why that was so hard for me to say. So to pass time, we were just making conversation, and I mean, obviously Dan and Phil was the center of the conversation, but then it started to kind of stray to like Markiplier and Jacksepticeye. It was really fun. These girls and I had a lot in common, which definitely kept the conversation going. It even led to some like supernatural things, and I told the one about meeting Jensen and Jared to get pictures and things like that. So she was pretty jealous of me. So time was still passing really slowly, but at 6:30, they opened those doors, and everyone behind me just started screaming. It was awful. And I'm not talking about like a woo or something like that. No, it was a full bore like roller coaster screeching. You know what I mean? I don't even know how else to explain it. Anyway. But I go in and I do 1 7-second challenge, and then I make my way to the merch table so I can get my stuff, and then I turned around to get myself a bottle of water because it was really hot outside while we were waiting, and then I turned around and I saw this. Okay, I don't do well in crowds. I'm going to say that right now. I never have. I'm very claustrophobic for one thing, especially when it comes to people. I mean, enclosed places, I'd rather be enclosed in an elevator than enclosed in a place like that. I did not expect there to be that many people, so whenever I turned around and saw all those people there, I decided to just go downstairs and wait for them to open the doors to the auditorium. And when I went down there, everyone was like crowding around these like side doors that I think led to backstage or something. And I didn't know what was going on. I don't know why I didn't just put two and two together that somebody was going to be there it was probably going to be Dan and Phil, but for some reason my brain just didn't comprehend that. My anxiety was probably just too much for my brain to be working correctly. Anyway, so I was curious. I went behind the group and everyone's like, get your camera ready. So try to get my camera ready. They open the doors. Dan and Phil step out. Dan's like, hey guys, thank you for coming. Hope you enjoy the show. And then they walk away with a wave. My phone decided to lag. Out of all the times it could have lagged, it chose then. So I didn't get any pictures there either. I was very sad, as you can tell. I'm pretty worked up about it. But no joke, whenever they opened the doors, all these people that were already standing close to the doors just went whoom and crowded even closer to each other. It's like, the closer you get isn't going to give you a better sight. The further you stand back, the more widespread everybody is, which gives you a better chance of getting a good angle to get a picture. Does anybody get that? The closer you are, it's not better. Do you hear how cracky my voice is? But anyway, whenever Dan had come out and he talked to us, it almost sounded dry. I'm not really sure if that's really the right word to say, but I mean he could have been tired, or I don't know, but for some reason that made me start to think that my theory was right. I mentioned it before that TATinoF and them writing their book was gonna be like a big goodbye with a bang. Everybody else probably saw something completely different at that point. But since him saying that sounded really dry and down and scripted and really not Dan, at least to me, I started to think that my theory was right. And I didn't want to be right. Anyway, somebody I was talking to from before, the ones who I parked next to, came to me after finding me in this insane crowd because I had gone upstairs to do something, I don't even remember what. But she came to me after finding me in the crowd and she said she had lost her sister and she needed to find her. And she looked really worked up about it, so back into the crowd I went. Ugh! Why do I have such a kind heart? I told her I would help her find her. And I even asked her, I'm like, what was her name? And she told me, and I was thinking that if I couldn't find her after one clean sweep through this crowd, I was going to the top of these stairs and I was going to shout out her name to find her. I would have too, just to avoid being in that crowd. No joke. I mean, that's how bad I am. Just to stay out of the crowd, I would have been at the top of those stairs just to call her out so I didn't have to spend any more time in there. Anyway, I did find her though, actually. After the first clean sweep of the crowd I did, I looked over and I spotted her, and I thought her sister was like right behind me, so I turned around real quick and it was actually someone completely different. I think that's one of my main things in crowds. You always think that someone is right there next to you or something, and you turn around and it's like not that person sometimes, and I think like that's why I get so uncomfortable in crowds. I don't know. That's a whole different topic. Anyway, these two girls had VIP tickets, which means that they were able to get in and go to this meet and greet. Well, I found out that in the meet and greets, you only got like a few seconds to, you know, go up to Dan and Phil and they signed your book, took a selfie, and you were done. You also got some tote, but I was really disappointed at first that I missed out on the VIP tickets, but after hearing that, I was pretty okay with it. Well, I mean, I wasn't okay with it, but I mean, I was okay with missing out on, I don't know how to word this. I mean, I still wanted to meet Dan and Phil. I did. No matter what, I'm always going to want to meet them. But since it was so quick-paced and everything like that, I was just okay with missing it. I don't know how else to word it. You guys get what I mean, don't you? So then the two girls and I went to the place where I said they were going to open the doors to the auditorium. We sat down and we were talking a little bit until they opened the doors. My contact started bugging me. So then I decided to go back to the restroom so I can fix it. And I mean, it was an easy fix. I come back and the doors were open to the auditorium. I'm like, oh yay, so I get to go and sit down and everything. Well, I was on the wrong side. So I had to go back up and go back through that crowd just to get to my seat in the auditorium. Ugh. Well, I got to my seat and I stayed there. I was not leaving. I was not leaving my seat. I was not going back into that crowd. I was staying right there. Just no more. So I sat there and I started talking to this girl behind me, and she was there with her mom, and her mom seemed really cool too. Like, I was telling her about like how worked up I was getting and everything, and she was able, like, she was talking mom to me. She was getting me to calm down because her daughter was freaking out too, which was really nice of her. I mean, I was excited, but then again, I was like anxious because I was worried about the drive home because I knew my anxiety was still going to be high, and I didn't want to drive home on anxiety because I drove there on anxiety. Don't drive when you're in the middle of an anxiety panic kind of thing. I wasn't having an anxiety attack. I was just having anxiety. Do you know what I mean? There was a playlist playing in the auditorium before the show and everything, and there were so many good songs playing, and the audience was all singing together and everything. That might be one reason why my voice is kind of gone. Well, a lot of the songs I didn't really know up until Youth by Troye Sivan came on. That's when I started getting really excited, when I got started singing with the audience and everything. And then this happened. That was the entire audience singing Black Parade by My Chemical Romance. And then after a little bit more waiting, 8 p.m. rolled around and Dan and Phil came on their microphones. they started talking and saying that the show was beginning shortly. It's like, come on, I knew they were trolling us. I knew it. Like, they wouldn't just come on and say, are you guys excited, blah, 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 and the show is about to start. No, 8 p.m. was the start time of this show. They were starting it at this time. My songs, Know What You Did in the Dark, started playing, and in the middle of it, the music boomed, the lights went out, and the show began. The show, okay? Oh my god, it was nothing short of perfection. It was like a movie. It was like a Dan and Phil movie that broke the fourth wall a lot. That's exactly what I picked up from it. It was so amazing, and I don't want to say anything too much about it because I don't want to spoil anything. I actually remember there was a lot of times when I would want to cheer them on, but I would have to stop myself because I was getting really lightheaded because of all the anxiety and everything. So screaming and yelling wasn't coming very easily to me. So I had to really be laid back about all this. I wasn't really able to be excited through the show, but I was able to make do sometimes. And I think I picked the right moments to let myself get lightheaded. I think I almost blacked out once, which would have been really bad, but I mean, it was just like that black fog that goes across your eyes before you black out. It was just that, so I was okay. Voice crack. And I remember there was one point that I was ready to get up and leave the room. Because one, I was right next to the doors, so it really wouldn't have bothered anybody if I got up and left. And two, the show was going somewhere where I was nowhere near prepared for. It didn't go there, thank God, so I didn't walk out, but I was ready to. I'm like getting all giggly just thinking about it. Ah! But I was scared that Dan and Phil were using this tour and the book as a goodbye. But after this show and a complete turn of emotion, I know that they're not going anywhere. At least, I believe they're not going anywhere. I absolutely need them more than almost anything else I can think of. Which is really weird to say, but I mean, there's no other way of explaining it. I need them. When I was reassured, I finally felt happy. And happy is really hard for me to achieve. I know that sounds weird, but throughout a long time, like, I went through and I would be in a really happy state, but there would always be something or someone that just takes that away and ruins it, you know? Like, I didn't see a point in being happy when I just know I'm gonna be sad again. When I had no point because the happiness wouldn't last, and the short amounts of time that I had being happy just didn't seem worth it. But after the show, I finally felt happy again, and I knew I could be happy for a long term this time. And I didn't feel like I was lying to myself when I said I'm happy. And I still don't feel like that. The darkness that shrouded my life for so long is finally beginning to fade. I see a light at the end of my tunnel, and I'm so excited to see what it has in store for me. My normally monochrome world is colorful for the first time in a long time. Man, did that get metaphorical. Let's move on from this. But it was all because of them. I got home and I collapsed on my floor in here. Like, I was talking to my mom a little bit, and then I came back to my room and I just hit the floor. I was crying. Tears of joy, of course. I mean, I was happy because I thought Dan and Phil were quitting. And when I got home, it hit me finally. Like, they're not going anywhere. They're not going to be leaving. I still have so much more to look forward to. I still have a chance to meet them. I mean, and I can still have their voices there as the background sound or just a voice when I need another voice. I mean, they're still gonna be there, and come on, I knew this was going to happen. Oh my god, your contacts will fall out. Keep yourself together. But I keep on having flashbacks to this show because when I woke up this morning, like, I completely forgot about it. I mean, I picked up my shirt and I'm like, it was a thing. Why can't I remember it? But I keep on having, like, flashbacks to parts of the show and things like that, and I just start grinning like an idiot. And it was the most fun I've had in a long time. Dan, Phil, thank you from the bottom of my heart. But thank you, Dan and Phil, for the videos, thank you for making the show. Thank you for being a voice when I just needed a voice in the background. If I keep going like this, I'm gonna break. Anyway, that was my trip to TATinoF. I made it a point not to spoil anything. I just kind of talked about little things, and most of it was just kind of my reaction to some of the things. But I'm gonna leave this video here. So thank you guys for watching this video. If you want to check out my last one or subscribe to make a new one, click the annotations on the screen. For you mobile users, the links will be in the description below, as will any of the links to any of the social media if you become a proper stalker. You can click those links now because this video is over. Bye guys. I know it sounds strange the way I talk about them, and I know it sounds strange thanking them in the video, but I don't care if people say like they're never gonna see this, because in case they do, that's why I'm talking like I am. And I know this video was really long, and I don't know why I'm so worked up. I know this video was really long, so thank you guys for sitting through this, and thanks again, Dan and Phil.